if you can see between the trees down there, there is an old tree stump where I have been digging up old bottles, probably 1910, 1920 era, and back up in the canyon behind here looks like an old farm dump. Anyway, whenever I've mentioned I'm going to Bowling Green for dump digging, this is where I'm going. I'm about a mile away somewhere from a spring that had a sanitarium back in the late 1800s called BB Spring Sanitarium, Bowling Green. And the cool thing about all that is they bottled their stuff in crockery jugs with stenciling, and the cheapest one, the most common one, is listed at $500 to $700, and the most rare one is $2,000 to $3,000. You know, we are in the Valley of Butterflies, and if you want to go hunt butterflies, you got to go where they live. That's what I've been told. Yeah. Okay, so there's my latest little dumping ground. Back under that shelf there was something. I don't know if it's anything, but it was something. And further back, right behind this dead tree stump, back up in that canyon, is pretty much a surface dump. Doesn't seem to go down much more than a foot, but might be some old pockets here and there. I've been here during the summer when it's all overgrown and you can't see crap. Oddly enough, it's not a whole lot better during winter. Anyway, I did leave a crock type feeling looking thing that I could tell under that shelf before, so hopefully it's a rare B&B sanitarium jug. Alrighty, well, after 3 hours of digging, we found bottles. A machine-made unembossed Kilmer's swamp root. About the only thing embossed that came out was a looks like a hair tonic from oh god, what's the company name? From Buffalo. I can't think. And then 2 or 3 broken electric bitters, not the newer electric brand bitters. They were all electric bitters. And a smattering of unembossed pharmacies and whiskeys. These whiskey flasks look very medicinal. That lip finish is very medicine looking. Speaking of medicine looking, last bottle out of the dig. I can't see out of the hole because it's a dump. And look at how close I came to digging up a B&B or a BB sanitarium jug. Yeah, of course it has no writing on it or I'd keep it. The handle's missing. But the Rexall Bowling Green bottle is listed as rare, and it's in perfect condition, near as I can tell. I don't see any chips or cracks in it. Wait till I get it home, I'll find something wrong. But still, I had just looked this up in the book. I was looking for one of these, and it was the very last one to roll out of the very top layer crap, of all things. Almost all of that was machine made. So anyway, I'm ready to come back and I haven't even left yet. What's that tell me? Well, alrighty. I thought I'd start doing some videos on a dump dig that I started back in the beginning of COVID. I think early March 2020 I started digging in this dump. Always wanted to find a dump like on the cover of Bottles of Bygone Days, and this was as close as it came. Ran 1890s to early 20s, I guess. Badly burnt throughout, I'd say 80% of the dump in the middle. But a lot of bottles, more bottles survived than didn't, let me put it that way. And the first time I found the dump, I was unimpressed. Tin cans, depression glass, screw top junk, you know. And one day walking the dogs, I was just kind of bored, so I stopped in and with a scratcher and backpack and actually started finding pieces of electric bitters, and that got my attention. So I came back in more earnest. I think the only embossed tool top I dug up that first dig was a mangan, and those are pretty common. Didn't bother filming either. I just, you know, I was doing an exploratory. So came back, this was the second dig. Before I came back, I looked into Johnny's Missouri, Bottles of Missouri book, and just to see what I might find. And this bad boy was listed as rare. And with I can't remember what the price was he listed with it, but I was like, oh, that'd be a good one to find. Purnell and McGee, the Rexall store, Bowling Green, Missouri. And it's got that newer, almost machine-made looking top. I think they made more machine-made tops like this than they did tool top, but it's an early tool top. No base embossing. Slightly purpling, and it's a little 2-ounce size. I like the 4-ounce size. Those are my favorites. They just feel right in my hand. Anything else is kind of too big or too small, but that one I think was the last bottle of the dig, and it literally fell out of the top 6 inches of the dump. I mean, it was just a shocker. I was like, wow, where'd this come from? And the little Tilly bottle, I think I mentioned in one other video, I just love digging these things. Some sort of opioid, highly addictive concoction, because like I say, where you find one, you'll find a dozen. Oops. Well, we didn't need that one. We got a couple others. Jeez. Jack. It's kind of hard to video and in relation to where you're actually at sometimes. Like, whoa, is that close or not? Apparently it was close. Too close. Anyway, these things come with different embossings. I always dig up the same ones. You'd think that I would dig up a different one. I think I've seen at least 3 or 4 variations of it. I just love them. They look like they're 190 years old. And a lot of times you find them in 1910 dumps like this thing. Anyway, that was a surprise on dig number 2. And my thought was, well, geez, if I find one that early digging, just how rare can they be? Well, if you had asked me about 40 digs later, I would agree with Johnny's book. Yeah, they ain't easy to find, let me tell you. Yeah, so moving right along into my third dig of the dump, I hit a really sweet spot. It was real rusty, real easy digging. And I dug up, my gosh, I must have dug up a half a dozen intact bottles, hutches from Bowling Green. The weird thing was that there were more sodas from everywhere else, including Iowa and Illinois. And I think one from even Alabama. And I know they pirated each other's bottles and would just, slap a label over the embossing and pass it on to their own customers. I guess it was cheaper than buying bottles at the factory. And that seems to be what was going on here, because what was weird was this dump should have not had hardly any hutches in it. Well, that's not true, but it shouldn't have had as many foreign hutches in it. I mean, I was finding them from 100 miles away. And you got to think back, that was a long buggy ride, Johnny Fletcher suggested, well, that it was a train town, so, trains would be loaded down with bottles and things. I don't know. I don't know if that had anything to do with it or not, but it seemed like a reasonable thought. And to this day, this is the best aqua version I have. It's got a flash in the back and a bruise on the front, but so far, it hasn't bothered me that much, other than I just know it's not perfect. But anyway, that little sweet spot really got me excited. I dug up out of there, and a number of crown tops came out of there. This was I think my first Jennings and Marks that wasn't machine made, from my hometown, Louisiana, Missouri. And it's a clear one. Actually, I think it was the first clear one I dug up. I'd only been finding aqua ones, so that was pretty cool. And a number of other odd bottles that just kind of ended up finding their way into new homes. Summer before last, when I had to thin out my several thousand bottle collection down to about 500, a manageable number. So yeah, I had to trim it deep. Deeper than I imagine when I go to look for a bottle sometimes and it's not there. And I go, ooh, I cut deep. All right. Anyway, enough of that. We'll get on to the next dig. Well, alrighty. Here we are, Monday, March 30th. About 1:45, almost 1 o'clock. Beautiful blue skies. Feeling like about 65 degrees, maybe 70. Not quite 70, but it's beautiful. Anyway, we're back down in the dumps, avoiding the virus. Yes, we are. There's only 3 of us here, me, myself, and I. So anyway, we're going to get to slinging some dirt, because the last time I was here I dug up 3 good sodas. One of them was a Bowling Green hutch, even though it's got a 1-inch flash in the back of it. It's still a good bottle in my book. Anyway, I'm here to sling dirt, not bullshit, so sling I will. Get back to you if I find something cool, which I expect to do. Well, on the other side of the hole, looks like a whole fruit jar. I thought it was a lightning, but I don't know what it is. Something cordial and extra something. Anyway, the lid is still attached, so I'm going to dig that out and then see if I can't gently wiggle her out. Be back. Alright, well, we got the lid off. It feels ground. We got her wiggled loose. And it is ground. with a bunch of ook juice at the bottom. Yeah, we'll just dump that out. See what it has to say. Crown cordial and extra. Well, considering that's a half gallon, I mean, that's hard to picture there. It's a half gallon. Crown cordial extra. Probably worth 10 bucks in the book. Oh yeah, that's how it usually works. I get all excited about a jar, drag it home and it ain't worth shit. Alright, well, once again, just before giving up, I got down, decided to dig back down where that fruit jar came out of. And we have a Thompson's original blah blah wild cherry, but it's in amber. And it's huge. I smacked the lip with my shovel, but I don't think I heard it any, but it sounded pretty solid. So hopefully it's all there without a big chip in the lip. Yeah. I'll come back when it's ready to wiggle loose. Okay, as promised, this bad boy's ready to wiggle loose. I don't feel a chip on the lip. I don't. God damn, it's big. Holy crap. Look at the size of that bad boy. Wow. It's got a bottom. It's got a top. Holy shit. Look at that. Hygeia phosphate wild cherry. And a big beefy amber. Look at that bad boy, fresh out of the hole. Oh shit. That beautiful. I don't see any cracks. Of course, I'm not trying to look very hard either. Wow. Wowzer. Hey, I'm happy. I'm done for the day. Yeah. Dig number 4 was one of my most memorable digs because of this big bad boy. Otherwise, the Crown Cordial and Extract jar that I couldn't decipher out in the field was, yeah, pretty much typical of what I dig in jars. You know, $20 to $25 in the book, in the blue book, and it's oh shoot, what number was it? 171-10, I believe, in my old red book. This is exactly how I came across this guy, except without a shovel in my hand right now. I smacked it hard, and I dare you to find a chip or a scratch on it. It's just not there. I don't know how I didn't split it right down the middle, right to the shoulders. One tough bottle. But anyway, as I was reading it upside down, I'm like, Thompson's original blah blah wild cherry. And I remembered I'd seen these in aqua before. I'd never dug one up. And then when I pulled it out and I saw this on it, I was just like, wow, is that a knockout looking bottle or what? And especially that light honey amber almost. You know, you get a good light behind it. Stick it in the window and it just sparkles. It'd sparkle more if I had it tumbled, but it doesn't bother me the way it is. And there were slugged out spots on it, so it wasn't the earliest bottle. I think there was Chicago somewhere on it. I think it said, originally, I think it said Thompson up on this shoulder that's kind of peened out. And then somewhere on this side something got peened out. Anyway, just a completely cool bottle in every respect. Oh yeah, down at the bottom down here it said Chicago, I believe. So anyway, that was dig number 4, and that got me real excited. Especially since the next dig I dug a broken one of these, but yeah, usually that happens in reverse. You dig the broken one first and you go, oh man. And then if you're lucky, you dig up an undamaged one of whatever it is that bums you out. So there you have it, dig number